How I would hack you and attack you. Introduction. Whenever I am on a pen test, there are several ways I approach my target. Please note how I mentioned pen testing and not bug bounties, as those are two totally different beasts. Pen testing makes it a lot easier in my opinion to find vulnerabilities, but don't let that discourage you to do bug bounty hunting, because while it might be true that pen testing finds more issues, a lot of them are low priority or have less impact, and as if that was not enough, a pen tester needs to be pretty complete. He needs to have full coverage. Recon. Recon. I cannot stress enough how important this part of my hacking cycle is. To hack a target, I need to have as much information as possible, and for me this all starts with trying to map hidden attack surfaces, parameters, subdomain enumeration, directory brute forcing, content discovery. A lot of people don't realize this, but social media accounts are also a prime target for me. So I'll try to link data that I have to existing social media accounts, plus people on LinkedIn often try to post new features that they're going to develop. Well, not everybody, of course, but it does happen. So I keep a close eye on that. Also, I follow the companies for when new releases come out, and telling you this because I think you need to be aware of the dangers of this kind of attack. Not because I want you to try it on your eggs. This is not per se a real vulnerability on any website part, as your implementation will more than likely be correct. However, the creator of the current password system already stated that he regretted making the system so flawed from the start. I really want to get into your social media accounts because that will contain a lot of information about you, but how would I do this if I only have your email address, right? Well, let's try the first thing that comes to mind. I'm going to try and enter a random password. In this case, it will prompt me to enter my password again, or it will allow me to click forgotten password. This is where the fun begins. Most people have their security questions enabled, and they totally forget which they have set when creating their accounts. From here, it's very simple to social engineer an answer to these security questions and take over an account. Moral of the story: disable those security questions or memorize which ones they are so you can recognize social security attacks. Also, take up a backup address and make sure that you have an alternative phone number or an alternative email set, so that when you do forget your password, you don't have to rely on that outdated system. Now, let's talk about porting me like one of your French girls. Whenever I'm dealing with target, some hidden attack surface can always be found on the not so conventional ports. Whenever we surf the website, for example, we might be communicating through port 80 or 443, but those are just the default ports. There might be so much more web servers running on our target on different ports or vhosts, so that's why the first thing that I will do is, if there's broad scope, enumerate the subdomains. If there's broad scope, I will also use mass scan. The only problem is that you need to specify exactly which ports you want to scan. So to get around this, make a file with a list that contains all the ports that you want to scan, so that you can just reuse that file. If the scope is smaller, or if I am done running my massive port scan, I will try to focus a bit more on some of these specific commands to get both TCP and UDP ports and get Nmap to scan the results from mass scan. Also some banner enumeration and default scripting. From there, I will note down all of the information: web servers, versions, web servers, network topology, and I'll look up if I can find any exploits. Now, because of that SC map, of course, I'm running automated vulnerability scans as well. Nmap has a scripting engine, but that's not the only tool in my arsenal. I also run anywhere that I think that I can find a query. I'll run SQL map, authenticated by the way. Nikto will tell me more information about the web server, and if it's possible to find any vulnerabilities. Burp Suite Scanner will tell me the same. You can do the same for OWASP, there's a lot of vulnerability scanners to use, such as Nuclei. Nox will tell me where hidden XSS lie. It's a browser plugin and it will help you while you browse. And some JS analysis with Link Finder and Secret Finder. Looking up all of those ports numbers, what the default applications are on there and how to hack them. Keeping a special eye on version numbers of applications, and we'll literally Google how to hack version number X of software. This will often lead me to exploit DB or some other proof of concept where I can look at if I can exploit that specific vulnerability. So you have no idea how often we find entry into the HDD by outdated software. That's kind of one of the most common ways that we found it. If there's a web server running, we'll look at that first. So let's discover our epic endings. Now that we're almost dead, I'm going to strike with looking for some content discovery like FUF or Burp Suite content discovery, and we'll be interested especially in custom login pages, but also search pages and things that are not protected where they should be. I love search pages that I'm not supposed to see. Now let's talk about Beef, because it's quite outdated. It will not work on every single browser, but it can be a great tool. When it comes to cross-site scripting, we're going to try not just to pop an alert, but we're actually going to try to steal things like login information. SQL injection is of course also one of the possibilities, and logical vulnerabilities or business logic issues are one of my favorite. Thank you very much, my friends. I will see you in the next one.